let's bring in someone who's both an investor and player in the media business. Porter Bibb is a managing partner at Mediatech Capital Partners, That's a merchant bank focusing on media and tech deals. He's also been a White House correspondent for Newsweek magazine, was the first publisher of Rolling Stone magazine, and was director of corporate development at the New York Times. So great person, as always, to speak to. Great to have you back with us, Porter.
Good to be here.
So from what I understand, you think you're very negative on this deal. Why do you not like it?
I think we're into internet bubble 2.0. And you've got On Demand, you've got Groupon, and now AOL HuffPost. Where did they ever come up with a number of 30 times PE?
It's outrageous, you think?
It's outrageous.
I thought the best part, though, was so interesting when I found out that she was going to take over basically AOL's content, and I thought, well, she really has a stake in this. That's interesting. But then I saw that the payoff,
the money's in the bank,
was all cash.
95%.
Well, that's all cash as far as I'm concerned. I mean, put whatever you want in stock. What does that say to you about
$300 million to Ariana, to Ken Lehrer, to Bob Pittman, by the way, who was one of the early investors, to Greystoke. The interesting thing is Oaktree, the largest venture capital company in the country, 18 months ago put $25 million into HuffPost at a valuation, a post-money valuation of $100 million. Now, what happened in the 18 months to escalate it 3 times?
Well, what did happen?
Not much. They're projecting a double of revenue. Revenue was $30 million last year, and Ariana says 50, 60 million this year.
You don't buy it?
I don't buy it.
I got to ask you, Porter, though, what about, I used to read and have subscriptions to the New York Times, the Economist, the Wall Street Journal, Barron's. Now I have canceled all of them and read my iPad. Okay, I have the digital subscriptions, but I'm more likely to read the HuffPost or Slate or some online sources of news, and I think a lot more people are.
You are inclined, and so are 25 million others who read HuffPost, but that's because the major media, the established brands, and the people who have the credible content haven't figured out a way to go online and charge for it. HuffPost is free. It's advertiser supported. Just about everything that AOL has is advertiser supported.
I love free things. So do many people.
But you've got to sell advertising, and they haven't demonstrated that ability at AOL or at HuffPost.
So what Rupert Murdoch's doing with the Daily, is that the better model in your view?
That's the beginning of established media charging a micro payment on a one-click plan. You're going to see all of the print publishers, once the rest of the tablets, the iPad clones hit the market, the New York Times, the LA Times, the Washington Post, all the major magazines are going to rush in. They just don't like the constraints that Apple has imposed on them because they saw what Apple did to the music industry. They don't want to get decimated. But they'll be there, and reliable, accurate, branded content is really going to prevail. What you're seeing right now is the last phases of user-generated content.
You don't think AOL and Huffington Post can become a reliable form of content?
Well, I don't think Rupert Murdoch's going to make it with the Daily. I'm surprised that he didn't put the Wall Street Journal on the tablet and use that as the template. I think Tina Brown is sitting here chomping at the bit right now, waiting to put the Daily Beast and Newsweek together at a several $100 million valuation. I think Rupert, who spent $30 million with the Daily, must be laughing right now and saying, I've just increased the value of my new product by 10 times.
So in a year from now, 2 years from now, are we going to be laughing at AOL, Huffington Post?
It's a miracle if AOL can survive. They use 40% of their last available cash. They had $800 million before this deal. Tim Armstrong had to do something because his iceberg was melting so rapidly.
Right.
But the issue is this the right acquisition? He tried social networking with Bibb. He tried cobbling together a whole array of digital advertising companies. That hasn't worked. I'm not sure. I mean, how are you going to integrate MapQuest and TechCrunch with Huffington Post? That's Ariana's challenge.
All right. Hey, Porter, thanks so much for joining us. Porter Bibb.
Pleasure.
We're going to take